everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Today I thought I would sit down again and do another talking video because I enjoyed doing the last one and I think I need more practice. But I've got my cup of tea, and yes, it's a green tea. Yes, I like green tea, and yes, it is in a Harry Potter mug because how freaking cute is this little cauldron thing? Like, you cannot say no to this. I'm sorry. And if you don't like Harry Potter, get off my channel. So today I thought I would sit down and do a video about, I think, 7 things that I wish I got told growing up, or like mainly during high school. I think it's 7, but some of them might muddle into each other. So anyway, grab your cup of tea, coffee, whatever you are into, some weird shit, I don't care, just grab one and join me and let's get started. Number 1, it is okay to fail. Growing up during like the high school time, sometimes you don't want to try new things, experience new things because you are afraid of failing. But as I've grown up and gone through like failing and my experiences, I've learned that it is okay to fail as long as you've tried and even tried again. It is okay to fail as long as you've tried, because if you tried, then at least you know and you learn from the experience, even if you fail. Failure to me isn't a negative thing. It's a way to learn from your mistakes or learn to do things in a different way. One day you might wake up and be like, why was I so scared to try all these new things? Number 2, don't try and be somebody that you're not. I know that is quite cliche, but it is honestly the biggest truth that you can feel. Definitely, as you're growing up, it is hard to figure out obviously who you are, but it's always good to come back to your roots and come back to yourself and your inner thoughts and feelings and say, who am I? You know, you might have done something and been like, that wasn't me, I don't know why I did that. Or a lot of things influence you at a young age to go in different directions, and also your friends as well. So you just got to make sure you're coming back to yourself, listening to yourself, saying, you know, is that who I really am? Is that the type of person I want to be? And just follow in the footpath that you want to go. You know, you don't need to try and impress people, just be you, because at the end of the day, it'll make you happy. And obviously, you're welcome to go and make other people happy, but don't try and be somebody that you're not, because eventually at the end of the day they will find out or see through that that's not who you are, and you will feel upset about that. So it's always good to just be yourself. Even if you make mistakes, again, you can fail in being yourself, because sometimes you might say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, but if you feel that it's right, then just feel confident in it, and if it's not, then you make a mistake and you learn from it. Tea break. Number 3 is a bigger one. It is all about high school and my experience. So definitely going through the start of high school in Australia, it's usually from year 8 to year 12. Year 8, 9 and 10 are very... High school's not really about, to me, wasn't about the academic stuff, because I found that is a breeze at those years, and it was mainly about making friends and trying new things, figuring out what you like, relationships and all that jazz. But definitely you grow a huge amount in high school, and you definitely find out who you are and who the type of people you want to hang out with. It can take a while. You know, not everyone's your cup of tea. You can't please everyone as well. You shouldn't go through life trying to please everyone, because you will never do it. So yeah. In high school, being popular will not make you happy. If your goal in high school is to be in the popular group and to be friends with them, you will spend your life just being unhappy in high school and not being yourself. So I found that having a few friends, like 2 to 3 friends that you can feel comfortable around and they feel comfortable around you, and you're not even scared to ask them questions that might even be like, you know, weird to some people, but to them they are happy to answer it, then that's the type of friends that you want to be with. Also in high school, try not to categorize people and categorize yourself. You know, everyone's kind of in the same boat as high school. They're all trying to figure out who they are, trying to get good grades if that's what they want. Try not to judge other people about what they do and their lifestyle, because you don't want to be judged about that either. At the end of the day, everyone's equal. Also, depending on, you know, the type of person you are and the career you want to go into, you obviously don't have to go through with high school if you know that there's something better for you, because when you come out of high school, it is so different, and you realize, you know, sometimes I know a lot of people be like, why did I go through year 12? I could have left here and done an extra year or be in front of, you know, my career that I want. So don't be afraid. Like, people might think, you know, you have to stay in high school, you have to finish your 12, and for me, I was happy that I stayed and I was happy that I finished it. I feel like it was an accomplishment that in your life, you know, you finished high school completely. But don't feel like you're going to be judged or looked down on if you don't finish it, as long as you think that it's the right decision for you and you go on to do something that you actually want to do. Then who cares what anyone else thinks, really. Also, in high school, this is tip number 4, mainly not just high school but also anytime, don't just rely on a relationship if you get into one with your girlfriend or boyfriend, because at the end of the day, not all relationships last, and you could be going through a long period of time with this person and you might break up and come out of it and realize you haven't put enough effort into your friends and family and maybe even your career and things like that. So if you do get in a relationship in high school, just don't forget about the other people and your other goals as well. Just don't let that one thing take over your life and make you miss out on opportunities that you originally would want to do or thought that you wanted to do. And if a relationship is controlling and that person isn't letting you do what you want to do, when, you know, if you weren't with that person you would have straight away done it, then the relationship probably isn't going to last unless they learn from that and they move on and say I'm sorry and stuff like that. So it also is hard because if you're in a relationship in high school, you're both growing up together and learning and figuring out who you are. And if it's your first relationship, you're both going through learning each other little triggers and all this kind of stuff. So it takes up a lot of your time. So I'm just saying, try and not let it take up a lot of your time. Try and also prioritize other things as well that are important to you before you got into this relationship. But at the end of the day, relationships are also fun, and, you know, it's awesome to love someone, so don't be afraid also to love at a young age. Just be safe.
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die.
Moral of the story, you don't have to rush at a young age to have sexual relations. But even if you do and you feel like you're ready, then that's fine. You're ready and it was your decision. But if you say no and that person, he or she, does not respect that, then I would just say maybe we need some time apart or something like that, or, you know, talk about it. Especially in relationships, communication is key. Don't let them make that decision for you, especially if it's your first time, because at the end of the day, it is more important to some people than others. And if you're with someone who they find it very important to them, then you need to respect that. So yeah, it's definitely a big learning curve, but just make sure you are still having time for your own life at such a young age, because time flies. Number 5, it is okay if you do not know what you want to do when you are older. And it's a very common thing to say, but it is true. Especially when you get out of high school, there is so many more directions that you can go, alright? And you can decide whatever you want. Yeah, so I finished year 12 and I was actually really happy with it. I wanted to take a gap year, but I wasn't sure. Most of my friends were deciding to go to uni straight after high school, and I spoke with my parents and stuff and they thought it would just be a good idea just to go. I was quite mentally and physically drained from high school though. If you've all been through it, you know, it's quite draining, and a year off definitely is a great idea if you just feel, you know, you just want to refresh yourself, be lazy for a little bit, maybe go traveling, get a job, save up money. It's a great idea. But if you do want to go to high school, it's still high school. If you do want to go to university after high school, make sure that you find out a lot about your degree and what is involved. I did a degree which I loved the main subject for, but I had to do other subjects which I found quite difficult for me. At the end of the year I said, look, nah, it's not for me, I'm not going back next year, which was, I found a really good decision for me. I loved the challenge of university, but I definitely needed a break after high school. I feel like I didn't learn a lot about myself until I took that year off. Going straight into uni, you're kind of just focusing on studying and trying to pass and everything like that. So taking that year off, I had so much more time for myself, and it's really a good age to figure out who you are and actually what the direction that you want to go in. So yeah, don't stress if you don't know anything that you want to do yet. You're still young. Even if you're 30, you can still change your career path. Like, who cares? It's your decision, your life. You do what you want. Oh, my legs. I think I'm going to make number 6 and 7 like into like one thing. So 6 was listen to the universe. So I know this can be quite weird for some people to think about, and a lot of people don't believe in the universe and like law of attraction and manifestation and things like that, but I definitely think that if you want something and you really, really want it and you think about it all the time, eventually you will get it if you're working hard for it, obviously. So I found that in my in my gap years, definitely was my maybe spiritual awakening or my journey to that. This freaking eyelash. So for me, going through these past couple years, definitely been, I've started my not spiritual awakening, but I've definitely learned a lot more about the universe and all of that jazz and stuff. So I know it's not for everyone, but I'm sorry, my dog is just breathing very heavily. That universe throws things at you so you can learn and grow, and it keeps you in the right direction. So I know life can be quite difficult at a young age, especially as you are getting older. Your eyes are awakened to a lot more things that are happening in the world. So it can be quite daunting and sometimes sad realizing all of the things that go on. But if you just listen to the universe and yourself and your heart and all that, it will hopefully eventually lead you in the right direction, because everyone has their own pathway, which kind of leads me into number 7, which was make your own decisions. For me, I do ask a lot of people for advice and I listen to them, and I felt like when I was younger I would take that advice and just do what they said, but I didn't actually take the advice and then just use the advice as what other people have experienced and make my own decision. Because sometimes I would, you know, make a decision based on their advice, but it wasn't actually what I wanted to do, or it didn't lead me in the direction I wanted to go. So yeah, don't let other people make their decision for you. Getting advice is great, but make sure that you are making your decision and what you think is right for you. And also don't let people tell you that you can't do something. That's the biggest thing that stops you from doing things. If someone tells you, you know, oh, it's going to be too hard, like, haha, you're not going to be able to do it, and all this, you know, negative stuff, if you take that in and let that in you, then you're always going to think that you can't do it. So do not let those doubts get into you. You can show them that you can do it, listen to yourself and your mind. Keep telling yourself that you can do it and you will be able to do it. Don't give up and don't let those people, those negative thoughts and negative energy, no matter how hard it is, don't let it get to you, because it will get to you if you let it. So yeah, at the end of the day, it is just you, and what is important to you matters more than what anyone else in the world thinks about it. So I'm still growing and I'm still learning and I'm still discovering things about myself, and it's a journey going through life. I feel definitely after high school you learn so much more about yourself and the world. It is crazy out there. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments or a like or a subscribe. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.